When President Donald Trump ordered strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities, it sparked a fierce debate over presidential power and the role of the US Congress. The question at the heart of the controversy: did Trump have the legal authority to launch these strikes without Congress's approval? That's where the War Powers Act comes in. The War Powers Act of 1973 is a federal law designed to check the US president's power to send American troops into combat without Congress's approval. It was passed in the wake of the Vietnam War in 1973. Congress wanted to prevent future Vietnam's long, costly wars started without their say-so. The act requires the president to consult with Congress before introducing US forces into hostilities and to notify Congress within 48 hours of doing so. If Congress does not authorize the action within 60 days, the president must withdraw the troops. The War Powers Act was born out of frustration. During the Vietnam War, presidents sent troops into conflict zones without a formal declaration of war, leaving Congress sidelined. Secret bombings in Cambodia by then-President Nixon, without Congress's knowledge, pushed the lawmakers to act. Nixon vetoed the War Powers Act, calling it dangerous and unconstitutional, but Congress overrode him. The law was passed on 7th of November 1973. Despite its clear limits, presidents from both parties have often sidestepped or ignored the War Powers Act. Many see it as an unconstitutional limit on their executive authority. For instance, in 1999, then-President Clinton continued the US bombing campaign in Kosovo for more than 2 weeks after the War Powers Act's 60-day deadline had passed. Instead of seeking explicit congressional approval, Clinton's legal team argued that their actions were consistent with the War Powers Resolution, claiming that congressional funding for the operation counted as implicit authorization. Another example is from 2011, when then-President Barack Obama ordered US military intervention in Libya under NATO and UN resolutions, but did not seek congressional approval. Many members of the Congress complained that they were not properly consulted or notified. But the administration maintained that the operation did not amount to quote-unquote hostilities as defined by the Act, and so formal approval was unnecessary. Fast forward to 2025, President Donald Trump ordered strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities, Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan, without a formal declaration of war from Congress. The strikes, the boldest US action in the Iran-Israel conflict, reignited debate in Washington. Did Trump overstep his authority? Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said the scope of this was intentionally limited. This mission was not and has not been about regime change. The Trump administration complied with the notification requirements of the War Powers Act, and the Congress was notified after the planes were safely out. But Senate Democratic Whip Dick Durbin said President Trump's actions in bombing Iran puts the US on the brink of a wider war in the Middle East, all without constitutionally required congressional approval. This debate has raised serious questions about the legality of Trump's decision and whether it could lead to impeachment. Trump supporters pointed to Article 2 of the Constitution, which gives the president power to defend the nation and US interests. But the core issue remains. The War Powers Act was designed to prevent exactly this kind of unilateral action. The War Powers Act is still America's main legal firewall against unchecked presidential war making. But as history shows, the fight over who decides when America goes to war is far from over.